Very good morning, everyone. Respected faculty members, Dr. Bhole, Rati ma'am, rest of the faculty here, my dear students. It's actually a privilege uh, to get this opportunity to speak in front of you. Uh, Times are changing. They're changing fast, not by the year or months or day even, but by hours. Uh, we may get up in the morning to find that the world has changed, and in such a situation, it will be difficult to imagine that a curriculum designed would take care of something that will come 2 years later. This is the batch of 26-28. But you are at an advantage. You have this 2 years before you actually enter the workforce. You will get to see the change happening in front of you. The change is not just been brought by AI, the change is also brought by geopolitical changes in our environment. What businesses for very long took for assumption that their supply chains are protected are no more, those assumptions are no more true. Businesses are adapting. You'll get to see them provided you read, provided you learn. And that's something that is there in our hands. It's a choice that we'll be making. It's a choice that we have of staying open to information around us, information that can only come to you if you seek for it. Let me take a quick poll here. How many of you use AI in your day-to-day? Almost everyone, right? Do you use it for your assignments? Right? Yeah. You should use it for your assignments. There is no, let me not take you on a guilt trip here that you should not be doing that. Earlier, institutes would have libraries. Now, libraries are on our phone today. You can just give a prompt, ask whatever you want, and it will be presented in front of you. What is more important is to ask the right questions. All right? You need to train yourself to ask the right questions. How many of you feel threatened about AI? Generally, as in, let's be honest about it. How many of us feel threatened that, it may take away our jobs? Today, along with my PGDBM, I'm also doing SAP. Will it change? Will the value hold true even then? What is your sense? By show of hands, do you feel threatened? You can be honest, yeah. It's okay. It's okay to be, to feel vulnerable. Thanks for that. So, probably 5-10%. It could be a little more also, but hesitation is, in accepting what could be there. We are not trained to be vulnerable, right? We generally want to put up a strong front in front of people, but that's okay. That's not the point. The point is that it's okay to feel vulnerable. It's okay to see the discussion around AI. And today there is a lot of, smoke screen around. There is a lot of haze. We don't know how it is going to shape. But yes, you are in an advantage. You have 2 years on hand and you'll see the change coming. And as you see that, embrace what comes your way. The debate on What changes AI would bring is not new. Uh, Probably this is the same debate that happened when the wheel was invented. People must have debated that the wheel is going to take away jobs of the laborers who are probably doing the heavy lifting then. Or much later when the industrial revolution happened, the conversation was the same. Did it change the world in any manner? Did it? Uh, it only made the world better, right? There is more distribution of wealth today than it was before. There are more people who get money out of the process that we see around us than it was before. But at a macro level, there was disruption. During the Industrial Revolution, when the textile factories started, the weavers did lose their jobs, right? What was the impediment there for the weavers? Education, right? They were also not at the same place where the revolution was happening. Correct? So there is an entry barrier when technology takes over. But as time progresses, that entry barrier has reduced. And I'll give an example again. Industrial revolution was probably much before my parents' time, probably my grandfather or great grandfather's time, a good 150, 200 years back. When I was finishing my 10th, the conversation around that time was on computers. Computers were new. The labor unions were striking. They had quit jobs, or quit work, not jobs. There was a lot of resistance. The major impediment for computers was one, yes, you have to be computer literate. You need to do a lot of learning and so on and so forth. But the most important thing was that it was very expensive to get a computer. So only corporations could afford. Today, how many of you have laptops here? Almost everyone, right? So your biggest stopper or an impediment for technology adoption is not there as much. What AI has done is it has democratized information. It is your choice of opening a laptop and doing research on any topic under the sun. That resistance or that impediment or that restriction is not there of a capital or a huge capital investment to learn a new skill. I was just mentioning some time back that about 6-7 months back, I made my own software on a dashboard meant for sales people. It would pick up data from any ERP that is available. It could be SAP. Majority of I think everybody is doing SAP. So you know SAP as an ERP. So it can use any data that is coming from ERP systems or any accounting software that even a retailer is using, and it will present the dashboard in a manner that is most sensible for that person. And what does it mean? It means basically, there in a business there are different levels of designations, right? There's a GM who is looking at the business from a different prism as compared to a sales manager or a sales executive, right? A sales executive would be more interested to know what were the number of customers that were billed versus what is the collections that is pending, or what is the productivity of the sales that is happening, and so on and so forth. While the GM is looking at what is the growth trends, which category is performing better, and so on and so forth. So it's the same information, but different entities in the business use the same information in a different manner. And when I was told that it is SAP that you are also taking, it was in ITC when I was handling sales, and somewhere some of the leaders in the business saw that I also have a pungent for understanding systems, and therefore I was made part of a 420 crore project as a member to improve SAP adaptation in the company. ITC is a very, as in even then it had a surplus of 42,000 crores with a cash balance of close to 12,000 crores, as in the cash was in bank at 12,000 crores. It had the, wherewithal of spending so much on systems, but it was in 2005 2006 that that company thought of introducing handheld devices for capturing orders from the market. So the salesman would come to the distributor point, and he would, using internet that was available at that time, would sync that data, and the data would flow into the distributor management system, and from there it would come into SAP as orders. So where did this come from? As in, for a salesperson being identified and put into a committee which will also handle software, so to say, that only comes from your fire to learn new things. Okay, when you come across something that you don't know of, a human tendency is either to put off by saying, I don't know this, therefore I don't want to get into this. And the other way to look at it is, oh, I don't know this, let me find out more. Maybe one day it will be of use to me. All right. So the premium here is on knowledge that we possess, which can be used at the right time, which can only come if you're open for learning. Right? When I entered the premises, I saw the level of discipline, and it took me back to my college days when I was part of NCC. I know it is difficult to imagine that someday I had hair on my head, but I always had the crew cut that you have, because I was all 3 years of graduation. I had the crew cut. In fact, 26th of April 2001 was my joining date in the army. The circumstances were such that I decided not to take up that opportunity, and I joined the corporate life. But anybody who knew me were surprised that I took that decision, because I was always an army guy. What it means is that, when you start exposing yourself to things that are coming your way, and you start learning more about it, your ability to evaluate options in front of you and pick up the best option in those circumstances at that time improves drastically. A learned mind would evaluate a situation in much more angles than a limited thought would do. I am reminded of a situation where Sir Edmund Hillary was about to take up the task of summiting Everest. A day or two before, it is told that he was sitting with Tenzing Norway, the Sherpa who accompanied him. Tenzing Norway by then had already attempted 2 or 3 summiting attempts by previous expeditions that were there. And while going through the planning, Tenzing Norway slipped into a deep thought, and Edmund Hillary interjected and said, what is that you're thinking? He said, I'm thinking about my previous failures and trying to understand what I can do different and help you summit the Everest. And he said that, I tell to the mountain, it is God's for us, but I tell to the mountain that you are a mountain, you will remain at 29,000 feet. But I am a human and I have the capability to become bigger. A mountain may not grow bigger, but as a human, I have the capability to become bigger. Now that thought can only come if you're open to learning. Learn from your failures as well, and that your failures are your biggest lessons. Don't get bogged down by a failure. It could be a test. It could be a situation that we may perceive as a failure. But take a step back. If it was a test, look at the paper and analyze. What were the chapters that were covered there? Which are those chapters which I was not able to address well? And let me put more effort on that. Now, that's an analytical brain. You need to look at a situation and see what went wrong and how you can do things differently. If you are going to do the same things that you had done in the past, your results will be the same. If you want to change the outcome, you will have to change the way you are approaching. You will have to change the way you did those things earlier. There are a lot of life lessons that I drew over time. One of that was my first day at Pepsi. I did my summers at Pepsi, and that's a story. That's a different story for another day. But I joined Pepsi full time in Mumbai, and my manager, who was in charge of my induction, accompanied me for that entire day, starting from 7:30 in the morning till about 11:30, 12 in the night. We started by having a gate meeting with the salesman, looking at the numbers, recapping what has happened so far in that month, and then reiterating what needs to be done on that day. A very big lesson in that step itself on how it is important to recap and recalibrate what we want to do today. The objective had not changed for the month, but the objective for the day had changed from what it was set the day earlier or for the week. Because depending on how the weeks went by, that day's objective had changed. The productivity numbers and so on and so forth. And as the day progressed, the end of the day, anybody from Mumbai here? 3, 4, okay, 10, 12 people, yeah. Mumbai has a dark side to it. It has an underbelly which many of us pass by but don't notice. But there are, at least during those days, there were a lot of dance bars, and he took me to one of those places. I was very confused. Was it a party at the end of the day? If it was a party at the end of the day as an induction, I felt that it was a wrong choice of place. But me being me, I kept an open mind, went in with a lot of inhibition, a lot of shyness, anything, in that range of motions, range of emotion rather. And what happened was, he actually took me there to teach a lesson. He passed on the menu card to me and said, Ravi, can you find out at what rate is the cold drink selling here? And I looked at, and it was being sold at 110 rupees. For a product that was sold in the morning at 9 rupees. And people were paying. So therein lie a very big lesson is that if your service pack is right, people are willing to pay a price. Okay, and this was an important lesson, because when we start looking at pricing a product in a certain manner, the question always comes: will the consumer pay for it? Will the customer pay for it? But if you make the story of your product compelling, then the customer will pay for it. If the quality of the product is matching the story that you are putting forward, it will sell. So that was Pepsi. Day one, very important lesson that I learned. Uh, Pepsi lasted for about a year. If I look at my engagement with Pepsi, it was more than 1.5 years, including my summer training. I had almost become the regular employee even as a trainee. Uh, but then I got a call from one of my seniors. I joined marketing team in work hard. But the itch of sales always remained. Once somebody goes into sales, the action that you see every day is something that once you go to office is not there, as in, so you miss that action. I was one of them. Not everybody would feel probably the same in the same manner, but I felt that I should go back to sales, and I waited for 6 months and then joined. I got an opportunity in ITC. Uh, After 2 years, I had become an area manager in ITC, and ITC has had this policy at that time. I don't know if it is still there, but once you become an area manager, they would give a car, a driver, and so on and so forth. After a couple of months, one driver stabilized, and I used to call him Avde Mama. He was probably my Krishna in the battlefield of FMCG. He was my Sarthi in many ways. One day I was trying to understand from him how he got his driver's license. He said, I was in Latur, I got my license. But he said, I got my license, but the true driving I only learnt after coming to Pune. I'm sure all of you are aware of Pune's traffic and the traffic sense, or probably the lack of sense. But he said, the certification of that driver's license was a certificate, but I truly learned driving after I came to Pune. In many ways, it is true for us also, right? We get a certification that I've finished my graduation, I finished my MBA, but we truly learn how to work in an environment after you've entered that work environment. So keep that in mind. This is that driver's license, that you know how to drive, but you'll have to keep driving and driving in the right environment for you to really hone your skills on driving. Very, very important lesson that he told me that day. And probably I picked up so many lessons over time through observation. I joined, ITC is a cigarette major, but I joined their FMCG division. They were just starting, and we were the first batch of people who were launching Candyman confectionery, Sunfeast biscuits, Ashirwad atta, Ashirwad salt, and a whole range of products that were being introduced at that time. Some of them are not there right now in their portfolio, but we had launched during that time. When we launched Atta, one of the farthest point from Pune was the highest seller of Atta, and that was Bagalkot, out of all places. Now, I am pretty sure that none of you have heard about it. It's a small, sleepy town in North Karnataka, very dry, arid. Uh, its claim to fame later was that a dam was constructed over the Krishna river, which is flowing through that place. And they were the biggest sellers of atta and salt. And I was tasked saying, "Ki Ravi, why don't you go there and see for yourself and tell us what right he's doing." I said, okay. I took a train to Gulbarga. From there, I took a 3.5 hour bus ride going to Bagalkot, and I timed it in such a manner that the vehicle that has been built to that distributor reaches at the same time that I am there at the distributor. And I went unannounced. First of all, the distributor was livid that I had come unannounced, because ITC had this colonial style of operations where people would inform, there are arrangements made, hotels booked, the supervisor or the distributor. In many times the distributor himself would come in a car, pick you up from the station or from the bus stand, or he would send a car to Gulbarga for that matter, which is 3.5 hours. So that's how you get treated in those days. I know that it has changed. My ex-colleagues say that it has changed. It's not the same anymore. But that's the kind of treatment that you would get. You would get a royal treatment. And this distributor was livid because he did not get that opportunity to tell that, and to be quite honest, it is not that you are getting that treatment. It's the position that is getting the treatment. We need to be level-headed about that. I reached there, and we started having tea, coffee, some conversations. And this distributor, I noticed, was illiterate. He had come to the distributor point in his traditional attire, which he normally wears, was a white dhoti and a white kurta. He came to the distributor point, sat on the chair with both his legs up. His manager read the newspaper for him, and all this while I was observant. He asked me a few questions. He let me know his displeasure that I came without announcing. And as time passed, it was 1.5 hour, I called the depot and checked what is the status of the vehicle. And he said that vehicle had reached at 6 in the morning. I was there at 8. I had not seen any vehicle standing there. The process is that, when the vehicle reaches there, the stock is getting unloaded in the warehouse. And typically, I don't know if you have, I'm sure if you have not, you will come to know when you learn about logistics and all these things, that there is some FMCGs follow a bi-weekly service to the market, which is ABC routing. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is ABC, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is another ABC. So the same set of outlets get covered. But the vehicle was not there. I was waiting for the smaller vehicles to report, which had come, but the atta and salt were not there. Now the biggest atta and salt seller, the vehicle is missing, and I asked the distributor, where is the vehicle? He said, it's already in the market. I said, what do you mean it is already in the market? I said, it has not got unloaded. What are we talking about? He said, sir, dekho, if I follow the pattern that the company has told me, which is ABC routing, I unload the stock today, okay, then I start servicing the market. So the first set of, the last outlet would get serviced by the end of Wednesday, which is 3 days from now, okay, and I give another week for the market to pay me back, right? So which means my investment with the company stuck for 10 days, right? 10 days. Why? Let's say some outlets don't buy on Wednesday. They'll probably buy on the next Saturday. But he will have to hold the stock. But what I have done is that I've subsidized my cost with the rate that the retailer would get, right? What is he subsidizing? He would have to employ... Atta is a volume heavy, there is a lot of volume, so there is a separate vehicle required for atta. So he said, I've used that cost, I've saved that, but I've subsidized that stock that has gone to the market by reducing the rate. Thereby, I am more viable in the market than the competitor. And that entire 6 tons of salt and the 10 tons of atta is getting unloaded today in the market. So, my money is back in my account by Thursday or Friday, which is 3 to 4 days saving of the investment that I'm doing on the stock. And that was a very big lesson. Now, the company had promised a ROI, aware of the ROI calculation. If not, look into it. There are 3, 4, 5 formulas in which you can calculate ROI. Very important for businesses. He said, if I go with your way of business, the company promises 24% ROI. You calculate what is the ROI that I am making, and I calculated it doubled his ROI. His ROI was 48%, in spite of giving discount. Later that day, on the same day, I think it was a day of learning. On the same day, when I went back to Gulbarga, I was speaking to the distributor there, and I said, this is a best practice and we should implement when it comes to high volume products like salt and this thing. We should not get into the traditional way of distribution. We should learn. And ITC was open to learn, because it was the pioneer of the cycle model, where cigarettes were distributed on a cycle. The stock is supplied in the morning, and in the evening the cash is collected. So the people, the pan tapri guys who are selling cigarettes, are actually operating without investment. They take the stock what they require for that day in the morning and pay by evening, and they operate on a 10% margin. What is their ROI? They are making money out of thin air. They have not put any money. There is no investment. Now that's a business that we need to understand. And I was speaking to this distributor in the evening after returning from Bagalkot. And he said, sir, since we are discussing on this, let me give my side. I am sitting in Gulbarga, which is 5-6 hours away from Hyderabad. Hyderabad is one of the biggest trading market when it comes to cigarettes. And that day I realized that when we talk about cigarettes is not just a category, it's a currency. Not anymore, and in no way I'm trying to promote cigarettes. I'm just talking about the category. And this is another point, that we need to understand the character of the category in which we are operating. When we talk about pet food, we talk about emotion. It's the emotion with the pet that makes a family spend on its food when they buy pet food. Otherwise, let's do a calculation. A family of 3 or 4, husband, wife, kids, how much would they be spending on milk in a month? 1.5, 2 liters a day. Liter is what, 80 rupees today? 160 a day, right? Sorry? 1 liter is around there. Okay, depending on what kind of family it is. If it is a South Indian family, their spends on milk is higher, because they also like to have curd along with their meals. But if it is a North Indian again, north of north is milk heavy, but the hinterland is probably, let's say, 1 liter 90, 100. So 3,000 rupees for milk in a month. Okay. Vegetables, 500 to 600 a week. That's about 2,500 a month. That's 5,500. Grains, another 3-4,000. All millets, grains, pulses, everything put together for atta. So a family of 4 would spend close to 10 to 12,000 on food in a month. Now, the same family spends about 13,500 on premium dog food. which is more than the entire family put together. But they do spend on it. Why? Because it is the emotion. They want to give the best to a family member which gives joy to them, right? So they are willing to spend their entire the same value which is worth their entire family's fooding. And I'm not including restaurant and all those things. If we include that, it will. But that's so this is important, that you need to understand the characteristics of your category in which you are operating. And that was the reference when I was talking about cigarettes. And the distributor mentioned that because the way the category works, and he's sitting 5-6 hours away from Hyderabad, which is the biggest hub where trading happens of cigarettes. He said, I take an advance from the wholesalers who operate in Hyderabad, put that money in Royal Canine's account, in ITC's account, and my investment is nothing. Once the stock comes, I send it to Hyderabad, a portion of that. Again, he's making money out of thin air. So, very important to understand the dynamics of the category. And that can only come again if you keep an open mind to understand, how the environment works, how business works, who are the entities who are operating in this, what is their motivation, why do they do the things they do. Ask questions and you'll get answers for that. So that was the big learning that I got from my Bagalkot distributor and subsequently from the Gulbarga distributor. There are a lot of adjectives that we use when we talk about businesses. One of the term that we use is resilience. That we should operate with resilience. There should be resilience in the system, or a person should show some resilience. What does it mean? By sheer definition, it means that you show persistence at a particular issue. You be at it till you solve it. I when I joined Royal Canine, a colleague had joined along with me around the same time. And 3-4 months went by, everything was hunky-dory. And suddenly after the 3rd-4th month, the numbers of their business had started dipping slightly. General discussion on, why numbers are dipping. So Royal Canin has a different model of operating in the market. Royal Canin operates directly as distributors in the market. It doesn't have distributor, especially when it comes to the top 8 metros. The company is the distributor in the market. It directly sells to the retailers. So the SAP invoice is directly sent to the retailers there. It goes from Royal Canin to the customer with no middleman in between it. There is no distributor in between. Some of the terms that I'm using, I'm sure it will get covered in your curriculum sometime, and probably then you'll realize, okay, that day I heard these terms, and you'll learn more about that. But so the company was the distributor, and since the company was distributing directly, the money collection is also being done directly by the company, and that was being measured as DSO, which is days. DSO is basically what is the sale that you do on an average in a month, that divided by the outstanding that you have in the market, which is how many days of outstanding that you need to collect from the market. It's another way of basically keeping a track of the money that needs to come from the market. So slowly the numbers had started dipping. The discussion was around DSO, that the DSO is slowly creeping up, which means companies, more money is in the market, it is not getting recovered, and the sales are also dropping slightly. So now this has a double impact, because if your sales are coming down, it is also giving, it is reflecting in the DSO in with a double impact. Reduce sales, the average per day is less, and therefore your outstanding also goes up. uh, I'll try to fasten this. So, 6 7 months down the line, the situation was bad. The discussion had oriented around closing the DC because the numbers were not looking good. So he made a lot of explanations, but it was not flying through. Then he reached out to the GM and said, I want to block time with the entire management committee, and I want, and please block 2 or 3 hours. I want to show you what is happening. And he basically presented a salesperson, but he went into accounts. He said, we are the distributors, so therefore I'm presenting the accounts here. Every conceivable accounting mistake that can happen has happened. Okay, and this is a big deal when it comes to MNCs. In MNCs, the big no-no is any financial discrepancy. Very thoughtfully used. It's not a fraud that I am talking about. Fraud is basically decamping the company, but discrepancy. The check has been received from one customer and it has been given to some other this thing. Pure incompetence of the person who was handling this. But that being said, so the choice here was that this person has just joined the company 6 7 months back. He had a choice of just saying, this, all these issues are before me, I'm not going to handle this. You appoint someone else to get this thing cleared, and I'm only going to get into today's business. But that's not the choice that he made. He made the difficult choice of owning up everything. And in one of the conferences, we would always meet on a monthly and bi-monthly frequency, and I asked, why did you take this ownership? He said, Ravi, I'm working for this company. We are the distributors directly, which means if somebody has not paid, they are not paying the company. It is the image that will get battered if we are not persistent with the retailers to pay. It is the image that will get battered if we let a bad debt go. Then the people in the market will say, okay, I can take this company for a ride. He said that is something that we should not let happen. All right. He took the ownership. The management committee decided to back him. Went on well for 2 3 months. He was trying to recover, highlighted a lot of this thing. Then the management changed, and the new management did not have the same alignment. He came under tremendous pressure. He was being asked to leave almost on a daily basis. And again, I met him in one of the conferences. I said, why don't you just say that, this is what has happened? He said, I have said that, but they are not accepting, but that's okay. I know that I am doing right, and I know that in exactly 2 months' time, the tide is going to change. And I asked him, how sure, why was he so sure about it? He said, whatever bad had to happen has happened. Whatever corrections had to happen has happened. The only thing is that the year operates from Jan to December, and when the new year starts, my average month will look much better than any of yours. And he was right on that. He took all the pressure that came in for the next 2 months. I know his new year was probably the most horrible new years that he must have had. But when Jan ended, he ended at a 36% growth over last year, on average over last year. And for the next 5 years, that DC was the highest growing DC, because he had repaired the fundamentals of that distribution center. understanding of, so he, during that process, being an engineer, he learnt accounting, and then he understood that I'm going to crack this. It was easy for him to take the easy way out. He could have just said, not my business. It was not there when I came. This is not what I was told is going to happen. Not my problem. But that's not the path that he took. He made the hard choice of sticking to his this thing. And in the process, his entire team was the same through the time, except for that person who was handling accounts for obvious reasons. But his entire team stayed for the entire time that he was there in the system, and they only scattered once the manager was not there, because they knew that they are working for the right person. I did Vipassana a few years back, and my wife keeps telling that I was already slow while talking earlier before going to Vipassana, and after I come back, I've discovered that there is no need to speak in many discussions or any of this thing. So my apologies if I'm making you sleepy. All right. So these are lessons that I had picked up from my colleagues, from my own situations, from observing things around in the environment, with people, in conversations, everything. So I touched upon a point sometime earlier where I mentioned my Krishna, my Sarathi, Avade Mama telling that license is only a certification which tells you that you can drive, but you'll only learn driving in the real world once you start driving. In many ways, our MBA degrees is the same. The process of selection is actually a process of elimination. There are lakhs, or rather millions, of graduates. Few of them decide to do PG. So by doing that, you step out of those millions and become part of those lakhs. Now, it will depend on the choices that you make, on how you narrow down that gap from millions to lakh, and lakhs to thousands, and thousands to that one person that you are. Look around. Do you feel you have competition in this room? You have competition in this room? Believe me, you are your only competition. 5 years down the line, forget about 5 years. After 2 years, once you are in your respective hometowns, or in your new jobs that you take in those cities, the person who you are treating as your competition in this room is no longer a threat or a competition anymore. Your competition changes. Competition is good, but you should remember that you are your own competition. In many ways, the things that we don't do are the ones that are stopping us. All right. Today, when I look at colleagues, ex-colleagues, so to say, when I interact with them, the biggest thing that I see is that they spend so much time binge watching on social media, YouTube, Instagram, Netflix, and so on and so forth, that their productivity gets hampered, and then they don't even realize when the management has put them under performance observation, and they have to give a serious thought on what they are doing wrong. And when I came in, I was having a conversation with Dr. Bole, and he said that, you are not given your mobiles. Uh, I'm sure many of you would be very resentful about it, that, you're not getting your mobiles. But let me tell you, this is probably the most important intervention that is happening as we speak. Okay, and you'll only appreciate later. So, that being said, every information is available online. If you want to research about a topic, even if you want to learn everything about SAP, there are videos available on YouTube. Everything that your academic curriculum has to offer you is there on a YouTube video out there. Or you just give a prompt on ChatGPT, Perplexity, your assignment is done. You just have to copy that assignment into a journal. I've been a student, I know, and let's be frank, the smartest people that I've seen in corporate life were backbenchers. They always think, what is the shortest way of doing this? The shortest way probably sometimes is the smartest way, because in that quest of doing this, you actually end up finding the smartest way of doing a particular task. We need smart workers. We don't need hard workers. Do a smart work, but with a full understanding, with the full understanding of the topic, because once you deliver your assignment, you will be asked a question on that, and you need to know your subject, right? And it is no different in corporate life as well. Today, AI is so advanced. You you take a dump of about 63 MB from, or even 200 MB from SAP, upload into an AI engine and say, give me insight into this. It will give a beautiful insight. But if you don't know your subject, that is a good insight only, because you have to implement it. That implementation has to come from an understanding of range of other topics, not just how to run AI. So understand what you are getting into. Use AI, make good use of AI. At the same time, develop a great understanding of your subject. Be a master of your subject. There was some a point on AI which I wanted to mention is, so if everything is available out there, all the subjects, everything, why have we come to an MBA institute? Why are we doing PGDBM? Given is that you'll get a certificate, your driving license, you'll get your driving license. Is that the only reason why you are here? That's an obvious answer again, given the environment that we are. But what is that X factor that you can do here which you cannot do sitting at home? Looking at a YouTube, this thing. What is that you can actually develop here? Yeah. Networking. What is networking? What is networking? Networking is only building friends.
Jain sir, my name
Jain.
is Jatin Gupta.
Hi,
Sir,
Jatin.
networking is connecting one people to another in terms of education, in terms of knowledge, in terms of everything you
Super.
corporate field.
Super. Networking, yes. And in the process of networking, debate, have conversations, listen to a counter argument, listen to a point of view which is not congruent to yours. Develop that muscle, develop that muscle of holding a conversation end to end. There is a very good example. Saurav Ganguly was asked uh, some question, and I think, yeah, he was asked what was his experience playing with Tendulkar. And Tendulkar, we all know, is the god of cricket. He said, we all see Tendulkar as the god of cricket, but the biggest thing that I've seen Tendulkar doing is to practice, practice, and practice. And he he gave an example. He said they were in Australia. I think this was 2002 or 2003, and Tendulkar had got out on a bouncer by Bretley. Okay, and he came back to the dressing room and immediately said, "I picked a wrong shot. I should have played a hook, but I nicked the ball and I got caught behind." So, and this was a test match. The next day morning, before the match started, he spent. Please be seated. Thanks, Mr. Gupta. Uh, he said for 1 hour in the morning, he made the bowlers bowl to him the same ball that Bretley has bowled, and he for the next 1 hour was only trying hook shot on that, trying to play that shot differently. And he said that was the biggest learner. Now this person is god of cricket. He's got the highest runs that he has already accumulated, but at the same time he did not shy away to pick up the bat, stand in the ground at 6:30 in the morning and play the same ball again and again and again, simply to develop one thing. It was simply to develop a muscle memory, so that when the same ball comes, they have a fraction of a second to react to a ball, pick the bat and choose a shot. And his entire effort was to develop a muscle memory, so that when that ball comes in the same place, because the bowlers are smart, they know on what ball you got out the previous innings or couple of times, and they will attack you on the same front because they have discovered the batsman's weak point. And that is precisely what Sachin was working on. He was trying to develop a muscle memory, so that in that fraction of a second when he knows that it is the same ball, his body reacts, not his mind. All right. So while all the content is out there to consume on your academics that you are learning, the muscle memory that you need to develop here is socializing, holding conversations, debate. Because what is most important when you go to a corporate setup is to present your idea. You're your own competition. There are people who will be willing to put you down for their own betterment. You need to present your thought better. You need to present your idea better and in the most cohesive end-to-end manner. All right. And therefore, I had picked up this topic of future belongs to the learners, because learning is a continuous process. The day we stop learning, the day we stop growing. And I think with that, I would like to conclude my today's session. With your permission, sir. Yeah, I'll open the stage for question answers. Yes.
Jain sir,
Jai.
my name is Arya Shrestha. My question is that sir, as you have worked across many different types of industry, what is that quality or the attitude you have maintained to learn and adapt faster with the major career transition?
Yeah. That's a very good question. When we are asked when we are questioned in a work environment, our usual self goes ahead to defend ourselves. We are wired to defend. We always tend to defend ourselves with why my action was like that, why I did the way, why I reacted in a certain manner. Very consciously, I had switched from defending to understanding a scenario and take the most objective way. Objective is without much of emotional involvement. Take a third eye view at the situation and then react. Second is that I think this is one more question. Answer for that is, along with this, in when we are dealing with people, there is always a lot of emotion that is involved. In debates also, some people tend to get worked up. and they will show their emotion, that either they don't like your viewpoint, either and the dislike of a viewpoint will range in a degree of emotion, from a frown to shouting. You need to cut that emotion out and just see what point is being made and react to that point. Don't react to the emotion. I think this is a very important this thing in corporate life. React to the point and not to the emotion. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mr. Arya, for that question. Thanks. Yes, anybody?
Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind.
My name is Saksham Pandey.
Hi,
So
Saksham.
I want to ask you, firstly, you have shared such a insightful life lesson. It will definitely gonna help us.
Thank you.
And I want to ask you, what makes you stay motivated and keep learning new skills? And what skills you think will definitely gonna help us in near future?
Oh, what keeps me motivated? I think what keeps me motivated? Good question. Never thought about it because, but yeah, let me tell you something. I think the ability to, as in, I get my kick from solving problems. Okay, it's probably as simple as that. In business, there are plenty of issues that come day in, day out. In a given day, there are a lot of things that will get raised to you, and you need to find a solution for that. I've heard a lot of managers who say, don't just come with a problem, come with a solution also. Very good, yes. It's good to encourage your team to think about solutions as well. But he would not have come to you had he not had if he had found a solution that he can do it on himself. The people usually come to you for solving a problem which is bigger than what they can handle. So always judge that. And I think I've always got my kick from solving problems, standing up for my team. All my team have every team member from my Pepsi time is still in touch with me for the same this thing. I think while handling teams, I don't handle individuals from a business perspective. It's a 360-degree this thing for me. One of the first things that I do while handling a team is I take their next of kin number. If it's a guy, then I'll take his wife's number. I will always invite them for dinner because you never know when a situation would arrive and you need to communicate with someone beyond him or her. So care for your team. I think that comes natural to me, but that gives me a lot of kick when I'm with my team. And there are times when I get bored, and therefore I have hobbies which are just one person hobby, as in I do photography along with what I do. And photography is something that it's meditative in many ways. You need to sit with the camera for long hours. So that gives me a break from if I get bored from. And I make sure that I take my breaks regularly. And we are in Pune. Pune is such a place that you can let an entire year go by visiting different place every week and not repeat that in an entire year. There are plenty of places here. So yeah, that's how I keep myself motivated, solving problems, taking a break through my hobby and enjoying time with my team. 3 things. Yes. Thanks for that question.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone from this? Should we just shift between? Sorry, I think that was the first lady who picked up the. Please, Azan.
Jai Hind, sir.
Jai.
I'm Lavina Arora. Sir, you showed us the importance of keep going and learning and evolving. Sir, it is important to unlearn too at times to be flexible towards more learnings in the future, and how to do that.
Oh, absolutely. Learning, unlearning, and relearning is a continuous process. And how to unlearn is that in the process of learning, you'll realize that some points have become irrelevant over time. And and our brain is very smart in that front. Whatever is not necessary, it will automatically drop. So unlearning happens in that manner. Um, you also have to unlearn when the situation changes, because you are used to reacting to environment in a certain manner. Let's take the current this thing with the breaking down of uh, the global supply chain as we speak. uh, you know my previous company gets its stocks from France and South Africa. Now they are diversifying. So how it's so this is a muscle that an organization is building. But for that thought to come, some person in marketing or supply chain must have first proposed that this is not working. So you observe patterns, see what is working, what is not working, and the moment you realize that some aspects are not going to work for you on the long term, you automatically drop them. So in the pattern recognition, as in our brain is all about pattern recognition. What works we keep, what doesn't work we drop them. I hope
Thank
I've
you, sir.
answered it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
We'll take some questions from this side, right? And then anyone.
Jain sir,
Jain.
I am Rishikesh Dhole. You had mentioned about Vipassana. I want to know about your experience there and how does it help in your life?
I think I've always been a meditation kind of a person. I used to go for meditation, even Brahma Kumaris at that time, even when I was in 10th standard, to keep my focus on. So for me, when I went to Vipassana, it was quite natural for me to get into that meditation mode, keep quiet for 15 days, read a few books and so on. But I have seen people who struggle, and their struggle is so, as in it's actually gut wrenching in some cases when you see how that individual struggles with Vipassana, because keeping quiet is not some everybody's this thing. What it has done to me further is that I'm not a kind of guy who would speak fast or show a lot of emotion or show this thing. I think it has just got doubled down on it. I've become a little more slower than this thing, and I take things a little more relaxed. I don't react to many things. I think yeah, that's what Vipassana has done. But yeah, it's not easy. My brother was there along. He's an Air Force officer. He wanted to come on a detox, and he had come. He is extremely talkative, and I've seen him trying to adapt to it. It was difficult for him, but he survived 15 days. But I've seen other people there. It was difficult, as in not talking, and it's the most used term. Man is a social animal, as in we make conversations. But yeah, I hope I've answered. Yeah, anybody from the back?
Jain sir, my name is Geet Saraf. Sir, my question to you is you have been a CEO and an investor as well in the past. So, sir, what like while evaluating a company, what do you look for, the business model or the people leading it?
Both. I think it is both. One is that if a founder is pitching, you need to judge if the founder has the fire in his belly to take the journey that he is promising. Does he have the fire in his belly to follow through on that action? Because let's be honest, as in if you spend a day at a chai tapri, you'll find 10 people by the end of the day who have a business idea. It's all about execution. and you're trying to judge if that founder has that fire in his belly to see through what he is promising. Second is also the category. You also want to have a full understanding of the category. How is it growing? What is it growing? What are the motivations of that category? Emotional involvement hai, nahi hai? Is it a high involvement product or not? How is it growing? What is the value that it can deliver? What are the margins that are there in the and when is the ROI being promised, and is it realistic? There are many things. I know that with a lot of Shark Tank around and a lot of founders on LinkedIn and this conversation keeps happening between do you bet on the business or do you bet on the founder? I think it's everything. Frankly, when your money is out there, you would look at every aspect, because paisa to aana hai. The money has to come back to you. You are not putting money to just burn, right? So you would definitely look at all aspects.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind.
My name is Mahir Ahmed. Sir, actually, I am an engineering background student and I am interested in pursuing my specialization in supply chain management. But I'm not too aware, like right now, what are the trends, what skill sets do I need to develop. So, being an engineering student, could you please guide me, sir, on what do I need to do?
Oh, I'm not an engineering student, but let me tell you this. There are two trades in the world which are never going to die. One is sales, and the second is supply chain. Because goods have to move come what may. Even if there is a war tomorrow, goods have to move.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
So supply chain is an evergreen field. The only thing is that there is a lot of innovation that keeps happening in supply chain, and we need to keep up with that. It's both on the technological aspect that handles supply chain, which is forecasting and the physical movement of goods. What is the economies that can be bettered, and so on and so forth. And a lot of technological investment happens both on software as well as hardware side of supply chain. The only thing that comes to my mind is that the career growth is a little slow in the initial time, but if you crack that, then the growth is good. But yeah, it's an evergreen this thing. Supply chain was there even when we were hunting in the jungles. Somebody had to get that bull out from the jungle to this thing, right? So it was a supply chain problem. That's why the wheel got invented. So yeah, supply chain is evergreen.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I think one question from this side and then we'll switch. Anyone? Yeah.
Jai Hind, sir. My name is Divyan Jain. My question is that with AI and digital transformation changing industry, how should a MBA or PGDM student prepare themselves to stay relevant?
I think the best way to stay relevant is start using it, not just for an assignment. Explore the entire spectrum. Like I said, I created a dashboard using AI. I don't know a shred of coding, but I was able to create a dashboard using AI. It's apparently called vibe coding. You can just, in normal English, tell the AI tool or the AI agent what you want, and it will do it for you. It will also generate a dummy data for you, which you can test from time to time and see if the results are fine, and whatever changes that you want in the dashboard can be done. Use it. Use it while some of the tools are still free. The reason some of the AI agents are still free for us is because it's not that the AI is free, because we are the product there. The more we use, the more AI will understand how humans behave with AI, and they are learning. So it's the cost that, but use that, learn till it is free, because once it is not free, it will be quite an expensive product.
Thank you, sir.
You're
Jai Hind.
welcome. We'll switch the side now, I think, and looking at the watch, I think I probably have time for one last question, right? Yeah. Anybody from the ladies here? I think, yeah. Yes.
Jain sir,
Jain
as you
ma'am.
mentioned about Vipassana, I have done Vipassana,
Ah.
and the thing you said about speaking, I also face those things. Even in class, I don't like reacting to many things. So, is this personality a barrier to a corporate life?
Yeah, one of the criticism that I faced as a sales manager, that I don't shout much to my team. Uh, this is a general misconception that uh, sales is all about aggression. Sales is not about aggression, but it's not aggression in action, but or rather it is not the aggression in what you show, but it is in action, in what you deliver on ground. If you haven't lost that, then it is good. Otherwise, I will not recommend Vipassana at this early age. Because yes, it does changes a person. So yeah, I- make sure that this is an age where the fire for desire should be burning. Only that keeps you motivated at this age. Later, it will be other things, but at this age, you need to keep the fire up. That's my belief. And great. I think we have stopped on time. Sir, with your permission, I'll end this session here. Thank you very much. I I hope I did not give you a slumber in the morning. Thank you so much, and good luck with the 2 years that you are going to put in. I see a lot of discipline here. Uh, some of you might feel a little stifled, but believe me, this is for good. Thank you so much. Have a great 2 years ahead. Thank you.